Hey, welcome to this episode of the No Close Show. As always, Scott Carr, excited to be here with you today. Today is a listener request episode, and we're excited about this one. This episode is dedicated to our lovely friend Linda out in California. Linda's been a family member, I don't know, 10 years. We've known Linda. Anytime I was out near her, she'd come listen to me speak, and she's been a part of the WCN crew, and she's an amazing realtor out in California. And just an absolute amazing individual, first and foremost. That's the most important thing you know about Linda. Just got a heart as big as Texas, even though she lives in California. So Linda actually reached out to me, and she's always good about asking questions specifically. And she's like, Scott, I have moved to a different part of Texas. She used to live down in Huntington Beach. Her and her husband have moved more central into California and around the Bakersfield area. And she says, I'm getting these foreclosure lists, is what she says. And I'm not sure what to do with them. Could you explain how to go through them? And I was like, yeah, I tell you what, it's better instead of me just sending an email and give you some ideas to actually walk you through the process of what I would do. Now, I don't buy in California. I have bought in California, bought in San Diego, bought in LA. In the past, it's been a few years. But working a California list is no different than working something here in Texas. A list can be a little bit different. And actually, when she sent me the list, she sent me a couple lists. And she gets them from her title company on a daily basis of whatever the newest foreclosure files. Now, in California, this isn't really a foreclosure. It's a pre-foreclosure list. It's a notice of default list. Now, here in Texas, we don't get an NOD list. But in most parts of the country, if it's a non-judicial state, they'll publicize a notice of default list. That's where really a bank hires a trustee and it files. Trustee starts to file the first part of the foreclosure process to get the ball rolling because the borrowers haven't paid in a while. If you're in a judicial state, it's a lis penance list. All right. In Texas, what we do is we look for appointment of substitute trustee is kind of the pre-foreclosure list. Now, the sooner you get these lists and the sooner you market these lists, it works better than the actual official filing. Just because somebody's filed a notice of default on a borrower doesn't mean it's necessarily going to foreclosure. It means they're basically beyond that 90-day period, they haven't paid in at least 90 days. So I want to go through this list with you. And once again, Linda, thank you so much for sharing here and being a part of this episode. So hopefully this answers your question. We go from there. So the first thing I want to share with you guys is kind of the location of where everything is at. And so what we did is we got a list and we mapped it, we batch geoed it. You can see it's all around Bakersfield. This is kind of the map of it. And there are a variety of houses. You know, she's around this neck of the woods in one county. We can squeeze in and take a look at them. I haven't looked at the properties individually to begin with. This is about as much work as I've done, okay? Because I wanted it to be very organic in going through the list with you. So let's dive into the list. And she sent me a couple lists. I'm going to work on the longer one. I'm not going to work on both because they're both very similar, okay? And basically, I think this is Kern County because it's labeled Kern NODs for August 12th. So these are yesterday. As I'm recording it today, it's the 13th. So it's 21 addresses. And let's just go by the columns here. You have the type, single family, condo, tells the property, agriculture, multifamily, the address of the property, city, state, the square footage. Okay. Now these are all California. Doesn't give us the zip code. What's great is it gives us square footage, beds, bath, estimated value. Okay. And the estimated equity, which is a good thing. It tells you it's the owner name. Is it owner occupied? 1 would mean yes, 0 means no. Listed for sale, 0 means no, 1 means yes, which can be a good thing for you. Foreclosure, one of them, they've got ones all the way down. Okay, now the zoning, I'm not sure what it means. Those you'd have to check out yourself. Okay, maybe it's residential, single family is what I would be willing to bet. Agriculture, what's this E stands for? It is I don't know what E stands for. The residential duplex, stuff like that. But anyway, owner type, multi-owner, married, individual. It's in a trust. You know, those are the ownership. It gives you the mailing address. You got to be careful because people, and I have been guilty of this before, of taking the mailing address and mapping that and searching on that. Doing my due diligence on the mailing address, not the actual physical address. So that's the first thing you want to do. Okay, the city, the zip, it's all California. They give you a purchase down percentage, what they put down, it looks like if they know the purchase date. Some of these have been pretty relatively new. Is the foreclosure loan position. So let's see, mostly these are first liens. One is a second lien, and another one's even a third lien. There, you don't see that very often, but you do that in kind of California, especially appreciation. So I once knew a person. I didn't know the borrower, but what they'd done is they had given $100,000 to an investor, or not an investor, somebody who owned a house, and the house was like $1 million originally, and it had ballooned to like $3 million. Okay, and this lady had gone around for 10 years borrowing $100K from her friends in junior lien positions. So her first friend was in a second lien. Her third friend who gave her $100,000 was in the third lien position. Her third friend was in the fourth position. Literally, she had done this for like 10 years, 10 plus years, where they're just slapping 100 and she wasn't paying any of her friends. And her friends didn't want to foreclose on her. Just serious. But this is kind of nice that throws it on here. Okay. The foreclosure receive date. So basically, when they receive this NOD filing, they get ball original sale price, published bid, sales bid. That's all going to be after the fact. I think sale place, sale time. As you get closer to the auction, if you pull this list, it'll probably update that information. It gives you the TS number, which I'm not sure what the TS number is. It's probably the recording number of the county. It gives you the trustee phone number. That's basically the attorney handling the foreclosure in most cases. And it tells you the foreclosure state. So it's pre-foreclosure. So these are all like 90, 120 days late. It could be fast. It could be short. Okay, but most of these have been filed in, like I said, literally the last 2 weeks. Now, that's great. The first thing I'm going to do is map them like I just did, but I'm going to, there's a couple different things that you have advantages here, and there's also disadvantages, okay? The one thing I like, bingo, bango, bongo, is this trustee phone number. It's a phone number to call, and you can actually already see that some of these numbers repeat, okay? Like, let's see, 1852, 7920. Okay, 7920 is in here. 1, 2, 3, 4 times just on the 20. So that's going to probably be a major bank, a major attorney who's working for a major bank. You're probably not going to be able to buy that. No. Now, that's where I want to get into in Linda's questions. What can you do with this list? There's a variety of things, okay? The thing I wish they had was the actual, who the lender was, but they don't have that. I wish, let's see here. I wish they had last pay date. You're probably not going to get that. You have estimated value. Did we see anything about estimated payoff? No. Estimated equity. Okay. So the thing you can look at here, since they say estimated equity, you could almost go in here and just run a formula to figure out what they kind of owe approximately by taking the estimated value minus estimated equity to figure out the loan amount. Okay. But here's what you would do. The ones that are second or thirds, I would just delete them off. You're dealing with a junior lien position. That's not being said you can't buy. I mean, you could technically buy the second lien position, but you don't know what's on the first lien. Okay. You don't know what's in, if you're looking at the third lien position, you don't know what's in the first or second position. So I just don't, I like to work first liens as my thing. Now, if you were a second lien investor, it would make sense for you to reach out to the trustee on that one. And actually, let's see here. The second one here, second NOD, and call the trustee if there's a number for it, a 7920. Okay. That's one of the major ones. So it's probably Bank of America, Chase, City, Wells Fargo. If it wasn't 7920, and it's a smaller, different number, it might be a smaller bank, smaller lender, smaller note investor, stuff like that. I mean, you can technically still buy that second. You're going to reach out to them. And that's what you would basically, you're not actually talking to the bank. If you call the trustee, you'd be calling the attorney. And the question is, I'm calling to see who the underlying lender is. They're probably going to tell you to go here and search this all out. And you could do that if you wanted to. But I was calling to inquire to see if you would know if the lender on this asset, or looks like you're foreclosing right now on 4. If I give you the address, the borrower's name, would you be able to tell me who the bank is? And do you know if they'd be willing to sell the note? Or could you put me in touch with somebody at the bank who would sell the note? That's the route you would kind of go on this, is going through the trustee and trying to get a hold of somebody who would actually do that. Now, these are 90, 120 days past due. They're not going to usually have a lot behind. The great thing is that there is some equity here. Obviously, let's look at dollar amounts here. Estimated equity. Now, the thing you could always do is, since Linda is a realtor, you could always send out postcards or letters or go knock on the doors and just approach, say, hey, based on public record, I see that your property is on the notice of default list. I'm calling to help you. Calling to help you. You'd have to skip tracing or go knock on the doors. You might not want to knock on doors. I don't know what kind of areas these are, if they're good or bad. And Linda's this, she's like, reminds me of your very young grandma. Okay. I don't know if I'd send her out to go knock on doors, but I would send a letter out, say, hey, I can help you. I can help you stay in your home, or I can help you. What's the issue? Okay. So you could work it. And Linda, you've got that because you're a realtor. Me not being a realtor, I can't work. Hey, I'm going to try to help you sell your house. Okay. The nice thing is you got some things with equity here. They probably know they got equity. So you could still, hey, let me help you sell your house, avoid a foreclosure, and see if you can help them move. Now, I don't know what kind of condition these are in or how far behind they are, but you could go that route. Since there's no information on the mortgage, okay, you don't know. Well, let's do that. Let's just go ahead, go in here, insert a column. And we're going to call this estimated loan balance, okay? And all we're going to do is do the estimated value minus the estimated equity. And that should roughly tell you what the estimated loan balance is, okay? And we're just going to run that all the way down. So some of these are pretty, like this $2.47 million property is what they have, right? This is a dollar amount. Let's change that. Okay. So going back here, let's get rid of the second and the third mortgage. We don't really need those. That's not going to be helpful for us to chase those. Lien position for second and third. Okay. Now, what is nice, you see that they put the purchase down payment. So somebody put 2% down, some put 10, some put 20% down. That's great. That's phenomenal. Now, looking at these purchase dates, let's highlight these so you guys can kind of see this a little bit better. These purchase dates, some of them are brand new and some of them are pretty old, right? So like 220, July 11th, 2023. I don't know if this is a HUD, this is a multi-owner, why they're in default, okay? But they probably, this is the one that only had probably 19 grand in equity. Yeah, 19 grand. Not much in equity, okay? This one, depending on what the interest rate is, it might make sense on some of these if it's vacant or the borrowers can't pay, instead of you just helping to sell their house and make your commission, to go B, the route of maybe taking over subject to. Now, subject to is where you're basically taking over the existing terms of the mortgage. This was in July of last year. So it wasn't the lowest of rates, but it's also not the highest of rates. It's probably somewhere. I would look at what the rent rates are on all of these. I would run each of these through, check out Zillow rents for comps, check out Rentometer to kind of see a bit of an idea. Now, if you're trying to do 20 of those, Rentometer is going to probably shut you down for 3 or 4, but it's still something to take a look at. And if you're a realtor, you can probably pull rent rates in that property pretty relatively easy by knowing bed, baths, and square footage, which you do over here. Okay. But if you're interested in the note, what I would look at is the ones here. If they've got very little equity, they may very well be underwater. So down payment 2%, 2%. This one's in October, so it's probably got a low interest rate. This one, purchase date, don't know the purchase date on it, so don't have an idea. This one built in 1994. Yeah, they probably paid it off at some point or did a refi. It's sad. And then you got 2022. That was July was right at the low part of the market. They put 10% down. 2021, 2% down, 0% down. So some of these are going to be government loans, probably. Okay. Fannie, Freddie, I would imagine that some of these would be, especially these lower percentages, but they're first-time home buyers that struggled. They had a hiccup and they went from there. So besides reaching out to them, try to help them stay in their house or help them sell their house to avoid a foreclosure, you could do a subject to deal. And if the numbers make sense and taking over their mortgage payment, if they've moved out of the property, if it's occupied, you may not do that. If it's vacant, then it might be something to work on. Hey, I can help you save your house. Let me take over your payments. It all depends on the motivation aspect of it. Now, what if you took over the house? You'd want to make sure that find out how much is due to make up the mortgage payments that are behind, and then make sure that whatever you could rent the property for or owner finance a property in a wraparound mortgage, that you're going to make a sizable spread between the two. Okay. I like, a lot of investors look for 250 or more. I prefer to be higher than that, because if you have to borrow money from an investor for that back payments or anything else that might need to be fixed on the property, you're going to need that to borrow some money on that in a lot of cases. Rarely will a bank just let you take over a mortgage payment and not make any type of thing. Now, you could always try to do a forbearance agreement and negotiate that on behalf of the borrower. California is a little tricky on being able to charge for that. If I remember correctly, I've not been involved in any of those. It's been probably 10 years, but I know that they were getting pretty clamped down on this. But the ultimate thing is mail out a letter. If you're getting these daily, mailing 22 letters and create a form letter. Hey, John Smith, my name is Linda Martin. I saw that your property just hit the foreclosure market, or was just filed notice of default in blank county. I would like to try to talk about helping you. There's a couple different ways. I am a licensed realtor. I could help you sell the property if you want to. B, if you don't want to sell the property, maybe help you try to negotiate with a bank for a loan mod of some sort. C, if you can't afford to make the payments any for, even do a modification, I could take over payments so you avoid a foreclosure and ruin your credit for 7 to 10 years. If you've got a ton of equity, like some of these that have a lot of equity, like 161, 138, 165, really anything with over probably $40,000 in equity, $50,000 in equity, they probably want some of that money, right? I mean, this one down here is only 904 square feet. That's a small ass house. 840 square feet. That's a small, it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. The thing to keep in mind, if they've got a ton of equity, they probably know it and think they can get it. So it all depends on the condition of the property. That's you being a realtor, understanding condition. But say, listen, let me take over payments before you lose a foreclosure, and I can pay your credit in the future. Okay. Take it over, wrap it around, give them maybe some of the down, maybe some of their equity. You never know. Some people will take little to none of their equity just to get out of that situation. If they got a ton of equity, they may fight it, may file bankruptcy, and go from there. So there's a variety of things. The first thing I would do in your situation, Linda, is send a letter out and just try to make contact with them. Start that process. They're probably going to get bombarded with phone calls. They're going to get bombarded probably with letters and postcards. I like putting my actual photo at the bottom. One of the things I used to do when we would target the foreclosure list was at the bottom of the letter, I would put my smiling face, my headshot, and say, hey, I put my photo on here so you know that I'm a real person with real solutions. I'd love to help you. If we should meet, you'll know at least what I look like. And it was very unnerving then for people to go meet at a Starbucks or McDonald's where we could talk about what's going on. And that would be the thing, is when they would call me off my letters, I'd be like, okay, what's going on? Tell me the story. Can you meet? Can we meet somewhere? Can I come over to the house? Some people aren't comfortable with the house. That's fine. Can I meet you somewhere nearby, Starbucks or whatever? And just talk. But they have that, they walk in that letter and they have got my face on there so they know what I look like. And they love that. Everybody that I ever met with said, I like that you put your photo on here. It's not a blind person or a blind letter. Somebody I actually can talk to, because that's what's happening. These individuals are going through one of the most difficult times in their lives financially. I don't care what happened. We've all been through financial hiccups. It doesn't make them a bad person. Okay. But if we go back to our Bastille map, let's look at some of these properties. Let's just dive into this. Let's look at this one in Alvin. All right. They got about $160,000 in equity. I don't know where or Arvin, not Alvin. Okay, we're just using Bastille to go in here. Let's do satellite view in the house. It's kind of a cul-de-sac. Let's take our little yellow man and drop it right in front of it. Let's see if we can see our little tilde guy, our little yellow guy. There it is. This is house on the corner. There you go. There's the little yellow green dot. So, I mean, that's not a bad looking house, right? 24 Arvin, California. Okay, let's go back to Arvin, California. Arvin is this one right here. This is a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. They estimated value is 360. They owe about 200. Okay. And we've got her name. That's kind of a unique name. You can actually go to whitepages.com and see if you can find a phone number for her. Okay. Now, one of the great things is she is the same address. It's owner occupied. So they live there. Okay. They bought this back in 2018. Notice the default. It's a pre-foreclosure, but we don't have a phone number for the trustee. Okay. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it's missing. Because if it was a number there, I would probably pick up the phone and give it a try. It might be a private investor like you and me. Maybe it's financed it, or maybe they're foreclosing from the first lien position. I don't know the situation until you take a look at that. But that's what I would do. I mean, what's the worst thing you can do? Pick up the phone, call somebody. Let's look at another one here real fast. Let's just see. Let's find one that's not 1852. Let's look at this first one, 1852, pre-foreclosure. Only put 2% down. They bought it in 2023. Multi-owner. McFarland. Okay, let's go back over to map here. Up this one here. I don't know where McFarland's at, so just bear with me. If it's a rough area, I'm sorry, folks. Looks like it's around a lot of farmland. Okay. Bakersfield is always kind of like that anyway, right? Okay, it's on. Ooh, that's by forest. Let's drop it. A little green guy there. Boom. Oh, look at that. That's a greenhouse. That photo. Let's see when this photo is taken by. This is from 2012. So we don't know if it's a current photo of the property. But you know what? It's not bad looking. Okay, let's go back here. All right, so Moscato. All right, should we have some fun? See, they filed this in July, so it's default. They purchased this just last year. Let's call the trustee, shall we? It's still early, which is good.
Marque 2 para español. You have reached the offices of Barrett, Daffin, Frappier, Treader, and Weiss, LLP. Federal law requires that we tell you this firm is a debt collector attempting to collect a debt. Any information obtained will be used for that purpose. Please be advised that this firm represents mortgage banking clients, and we rely on information provided by our clients. Your call is important to us, but due to high call volumes at certain times, you may experience a longer hold time. If you are calling to request payoff or reinstatement figures only, please press 1. If you are not the borrower on the account and have not submitted to our firm a written authorization signed by the borrower on the loan about which you are calling, please press 2. For all other inquiries, please stay on the line to speak with a call center representative. If you are not the borrower on the account and have not submitted to our firm a written authorization signed by the borrower on the loan about which you are calling, please fax a letter of authorization signed by the borrower specifying the loan number and mortgage company name to 972-661-7800. If you need to listen to this message again, please press 9. If you would like to speak to a call center representative at this time, please press 0.
See if we can't get a call center on there. Just tell us who the lender is. Yeah, hi, my name is Scott Carson. I'm a debt buyer, and I'm calling you because you guys are the trustee on a foreclosure property in Bakersfield. And I was calling to inquire to see if you could tell me who the lender was and put a note into the attorney to see if they know if the mortgage company, the lender might be willing to sell the note, sell the debt.
Can I have the loan number?
I don't have the loan number. Can I give you the address?
Okay, can I have the property address?
Yes, it is 893 Moscato.
You said your name was again?
My name is Scott Carson. The lender doesn't know me. The borrower doesn't know me. I'm just a distressed debt buyer, and I get lists of these notice of defaults, and I buy mortgage debt, and I'm just trying to track down who the lender is and see if they'd be willing to sell the note.
Okay. Well, being that I don't have authorization on account, I won't be able to provide that information to you.
That's fine. Can you put a message through to the attorney or to the lender?
No, I can't. I can only note the account according to our conversation.
Okay, well, I'm not asking you to release any information, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm just asking you if you can notate the account that I called inquiring about buying the debt, not the borrower. I don't know who the borrower is. Well, I guess it's a loose lease, but I'm just trying to contact the right person at the mortgage company or the attorney that I buy debt in case they're interested in selling the note.
Okay. And I can also give you an email address to send over information advising that you want to
Okay.
get more information regarding the property.
Okay. What's that? That's fine. What's your email?
H is in Harry, A is in Apple, E is in dog. It's an F symbol.
Yeah.
I do have the email, which is going to be okay. Then B is in boy, E is in dog, F is in Fred, the word group.com. So it should read HAD@bdfgroup.com.
Awesome and perfect. That's okay. I'll reach out to them that way. But yeah, my name is, once again, Scott Carson. My direct number is 512-585-3810. I'm a debt buyer, and so I buy mortgage debt.
Okay. I'll go ahead and update that.
Great then. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too.
All right, bye-bye. So there you go. You have it. We didn't know who the mortgage company is, which is, I don't expect it to be one, but BDF Group is something we go search at. Let's go look at this here real fast. BDF group.com. Because the whole point of reaching out to these lenders or these trustees, but the idea is to try to buy the debt. And maybe they don't just represent that one property, so literally see if of all they represent. So here you go. Practice areas, blog, contact. Okay, so here we got a contact. Contact BDF Law, loading form. Legal issue. Hello, BDF. I am a debt buyer who has purchased non-performing notes for over 20 years. I was contacting BDF to talk with someone about potentially purchasing the non-performing mortgage debt that you represent and are foreclosing on. Basically, I'd like to buy the lenders that you work for and retain you as counsel. I can be reached Thank you in advance. All right. Yeah, disclaimer, sin. So that's what you would do. And I would find somebody at BDF and just follow that process. Make a phone call. Who do I need to talk to? Do you know if any of your clients, their lenders that they represent would be willing to sell the debt to me? So there's a couple different strategies here for you. A, work with a borrower to sell the property to avoid a foreclosure. B, take over the mortgage in a subject to deal. Okay. And then either rent it out, owner finance it, delay paying their equity, maybe get a deal. 3, you could basically, maybe you could flip it to another investor if you got an investor buyer, maybe do that. But that's kind of falls in line with being a realtor. Or 4, contact the asset managers or contact the trustees and inquire about buying the debt from the lender if they'll ever list on there. One of the things I would do is I would go spend some time, if you can have access to the title records and see who the lender is who's foreclosing. That would be a better route. Trustees sometimes are kind of tricky people. Sometimes they're open to it, sometimes they're not. It all depends on who the lender is, or I'm sorry, who the attorney is, and if they like to think outside the box sometimes. Who knows? So, but that's the route I would go. You know, bigger banks, you're gonna have a difficult time. If it was Bank of America, Chase, Citi, Wells Fargo, you know, I'd probably just get rid of them and work on the smaller lenders, smaller institutions, and go that route. So, Linda, I hope that was helpful for you. I hope that was helpful to all of you out there. Not always you get a live call that works well. I don't know how the audio's gonna come out in that, but we'll try our best. We might have to bleep it a little bit. But anyway, hope you go out, take some action. As you get these on a daily basis, hey, 22, we limited that to 19. 4 of those with one lender. It'd be worth making a phone call to that lender just to find it. Actually, you know what? Why don't we do that real fast? Let's go back. Let's just find out. Take it a next step. It's basically be doing the same thing. 79, where is it? 714-848. That will get
Thank you for calling ZVS Law LLP. Be advised that ZVS Law is either acting as a non-judicial foreclosure trustee or a law firm that represents debt collectors in the ordinary course of their business. As such, our clients may be considered debt collectors. They may be attempting to collect a debt from you, and any information obtained from you may be shared with our clients and used for those purposes. If you know the extension for the person you are trying to reach, please dial that extension now. To use the dial by name directory, press 2. To request reinstatement and payoff figures, press 3. At any time during this message, press 0 to speak with an operator during normal. Please stay on the line while your call is transferred to the operator. CBS Law, how can I help you?
Yeah, hi, my name is Scott Carson. I'm out of Austin, Texas. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you.
I have a kind of a weird question. I'm not calling about one specific file. I'm just kind of curious. I see this phone number popping up on the notice of default lists quite often there in California, and it doesn't list the banks or the lender that you guys are representing. Could you give me a few names of the lenders that you represent? Like, are they Bank of America, Chase, Citi, Deutsche Bank, any Wells Fargo?
Any of those?
It could be any of those. Okay. Did I name a few of your clients?
You did.
Okay, that's what I need to know. You would probably say you represent more of the larger banks than smaller individual banks, if I'm correct, right?
A little of both.
Okay, all right. Do you on some of your smaller clients, and you may not know the answer to that, I'm a debt buyer. I buy distressed mortgage debt from banks, hedge funds have been doing it for 20 years. Would there be somebody that I could talk to that maybe represents some of the smaller banks, smaller lenders about maybe submitting an offering to buy the mortgage debt and keeping you guys on and retaining you as counsel?
Hold on one moment, please.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, this is Marcy. I'm unable to get to the phone right now, so please leave a message, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Please leave your loan number, your property address, and your phone number. Thank you. Have a great day.
Hi, Marcy. My name is Scott Carson. I'm with a company of Austin, Texas called We Close Notes. I've been a non-performing debt buyer, primarily residential commercial mortgages for 20 years. I'm just contacting your firm with the amount of foreclosures. I'm starting to see your guys' number pop up on the different notice of default filings. I didn't know if any of your lenders that you guys represent would maybe be interested in selling the mortgage debt off to me and me having retain you as counsel and go through the foreclosure or the workouts. I'd love to talk with you or somebody over there. Pick your brain or let you pick my brain on that and find maybe a win-win solution or a way to help your clients out and go from there. I can be reached back at 512-585-3810. Once again, that number is 512-585-3810. And it's Scott Carson with WeCloseNotes.com. Thanks, and I look forward to talking to you. Have a great day. Bye. Well, there we go. They represent some big names and they represent some small names. That's what I like about going the back door and through the attorney. And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes I've been successful getting the right contact at the bank. Sometimes if it's a smaller bank, they might be willing to entertain. If it's a bigger bank, like Bank of America, Chase City, Deutsche Bank, they may not be willing to do it. But that's why I asked, it was bigger banks or smaller banks, and that lady was willing to help. So you never know. You might be onto something. You might not. So I hope that was helpful. Once again, Linda, thank you so much for sending in the question. Hopefully this was valuable for you. And you guys out there, if you have a deal or question you'd like for me to do an episode on, please feel free to reach out to me. Always glad to be as assistants, help you walk you through a deal and break it down. Otherwise, go out, guys, take some action, and we'll see you at the top.